What is jet engines? A jet engine can also be called as a reaction engine because the reaction produced by the engine propels the aircraft or vehicle. Jet engines are internal combustion engines discharging hot exhaust gases at high velocity that generate thrust. Unlike the internal combustion engines in automobiles and trucks which convert the up and down movement of the piston to rotary movement of crankshaft, jet engines simply produces power by sucking air at the front side and discharging it at the back side. What is thrust? Thrust is the forward force that pushes the engine and, therefore, the airplane forward. Sir Isaac Newton discovered that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. An engine uses this principle. The engine takes in a large volume of air. The air is heated and compressed and slowed down. The air is forced through many spinning blades. By mixing this air with jet fuel, the temperature of the air can be as high as 3000 degrees. The power of the air is used to turn the turbine. Finally, when the air leaves, it pushes backward out of the engine. This causes the plane to move forward. Parts in jet engines. Compressor. The compressor is the first component of the engine. It has many blades and is attached to the main shaft. The compressor sucks and squeezes the air as it moves further, which results in very high pressure of air. Combustor. In this part, the compressed air is mixed with the fuel and ignited. The heat can reach up to 2700 C. Turbine. The exhaust gases are made pass through turbine, causing the turbine blades to rotate. They are fixed on same shaft on which the compressor is attached. Nozzle. The nozzle is the exhaust duct of the engine. This is the part of the engine which produces thrust and propels the aircraft. The converging design of the nozzle helps to accelerate the gases to a very high velocity. Fan. The fan is the first component in a turbofan. The large spinning fan sucks in large quantities of air. Most blades of the fan are made of titanium. It then speeds this air up and splits it into two parts. One part continues through the core, or center of the engine, where it is acted upon by the other engine components. The second part bypasses the core of the engine. It goes through a duct that surrounds the core to the back of the engine, where it produces much of the force that propels the airplane forward. This cooler air helps to quiet the engine as well as adding thrust to the engine. Turbine. The high-energy airflow coming out of the combustor goes into the turbine, causing the turbine blades to rotate. The turbines are linked by a shaft to turn the blades in the compressor and to spin the intake fan at the front. This rotation takes some energy from the high-energy flow that is used to drive the fan and the compressor. The gases produced in the combustion chamber move through the turbine and spin its blades. The turbines of the jet spin around thousands of times. They are fixed on shafts which have several sets of ball bearing in between them. Working of jet engine. The compressor sucks the air and compresses it. This highly compressed air is then forced into combustion chamber. Multiple nozzles inject fuel into the air and igniter, similar to spark plug, causes air to catch fire. The fuel burns with oxygen present in compressed air, producing hot expanding gases. These gases are passed through the turbines, which causes the blades to rotate. This turning of turbine also rotates the shaft to which it is fixed. The same shaft in turn rotates the compressor. Which means instead of just letting out those hot gases, they are indirectly used to suck fresh air at the same time. This is the reason we need turbine after the combustion chamber section. After coming out of the turbine, then the gases are allowed to exit the engine through a converging shaped nozzle. The force of the exhaust gases pushing backwards, action, produces equal and opposite forward force, reaction, Newton's third law of motion. We call this forward force as thrust, which powers the aircraft or vehicle forward. Types of jet engines. The first jet engine successfully flew in August 1939. Hans von Ohain of Germany was the designer of the first operational jet engine. Types of jet engines: gas turbines. Turbojet engines. These are most common type of jet engines. The fans in the front does the work of compressor. The compressed air is then forced into the combustion chamber. After injection of fuel, takes place the combustion of the high-pressure fresh air. These hot expanding gases are then made to flow through turbine, which causes the blade to rotate. The turning of turbine also helps to run the compressor, as they are connected to the same drive shaft. The discharged gases are then allowed to exit through nozzle at high speed, which produces thrust and propels the aircraft. A turbofan engine is an engine very similar to the jet engine. Like the turbojet, it uses the same gas generator core I.E compressor, combustor, turbine, to produce thrust, and turbine is used to run the compressor as well as the fan. Turbofans differ from the turbojets in the way they have an additional component, a fan. The fan sucks in air and then further gets compressed, and combustion takes place in the burner. As you can see in the animation, instead of burning the whole fresh charge, only some part of it is used for combustion and the rest of the air just bypasses, goes